The arrogance that you essentially characterize Ivy League institutions of being was on display. How dare you question me about how we run our elite campus, where you probably outside, at least Stefanik, couldn't get in, or most of the people watching. We'll handle our thing. How dare you bring us up here to explain
During these past months, the world, our nation, and our campuses have also seen a rise of incidents of Islamophobia. We are seeing a rise in our society in harassment, intimidation, and threats toward individuals based on their identity as Muslim, Palestinian, or Arab.
We have launched an MIT-wide effort called Standing Together Against Hate. In addition to fighting anti-Semitism, it will address Islamophobia, also on the rise.
Well, we were telling you about this yesterday on this program. You had the presidents of Harvard, MIT, UPenn called on the carpet because ever since October 7th and the massacre in Israel, there has been a wave of anti-Semitism at each of those schools. And for the most part, and we've heard from students, they say, I'm afraid to leave my dorm. But essentially, all of these leaders of these schools said, you know what? I personally don't like it, but it's freedom of speech.
I guess I'm sorry, Ainsley.
Go ahead.
Was expecting some sort of defense from the presidents of these universities, especially just on a matter of principle. But if you're not going to be principled, at least listen to your donors, the people that fund the university.
Right.
They're saying they're not going to give you any money because of your position. So I thought they had some time. It was a long trip to Washington, D.C., that there was going to be some reflection about the nonsense that is happening on their college campuses. Nothing changed.
Instead, it was spin.
You would think chanting anti-Semitic messages on a campus would violate a school's code of conduct. I know that would at most elementary schools, most middle schools, and high schools. Listen to the exchange between Elise Stefanik and I believe this is the president of Harvard.
Claudine Gay.
Her school.
Dr. Gay, a Harvard student calling for the mass murder of African Americans is not protected free speech at Harvard, correct?
Our commitment to free speech.
It's a yes or no question. Is that corrected? Is that okay for students to call for the mass murder of African Americans at Harvard? Is that protected free speech?
Our commitment to free speech.
It's a yes or no question.
It all came back to free speech.
It goes to the root of the issue, and and I've been saying this from the very beginning. Let's change the group of people. Let's put black people instead of Jewish people and see what the response would be. Let's take the Free Palestine people and put them in hoods. And when we say that's acceptable.
What if that whole crowd were chanting, "We don't like African Americans"?
I mean, why is it a different standard for the Jewish people? If the reason why she couldn't say that, she couldn't concede to that point, is because it would have destroyed the entire argument.
They made a mistake.
Right.
But what they also did is came there with spin. They said when to spin it to Islamophobia was as big a problem as anti-Semitism. So Islamophobia, that's what they all were on the same page. The arrogance that you essentially characterize Ivy League institutions of being was on display. How dare you question me about how we run our elite campus, where you probably outside, at least Stefanik, couldn't get in, or most of the people watching. We'll handle our thing. How dare you bring us up here to explain ourselves, instead of saying, I was as concerned as you when I saw the size of that Hamas crowd, that anti-Semitic crowd out there, and we're beginning to address, and here's why. Instead, we got the exact opposite.
Well, and Lawrence, you mentioned the donors. Bill Ackman, who is a billionaire, has donated $26 million to Harvard. He said yesterday, once again, he called on the Harvard president to resign and accused her of being profoundly morally bankrupt.
Elise Stefanik wants her to resign, too, and that's where she went to college.
And here's the thing.
They tried to take a degree away a few years ago.
Once upon a time, Harvard was something that you aspired to. Do you,
Not
people
anymore.
watching right now, do you want your kids to go to a school like that?